Hello student, welcome to the lecture on HR and Global Business Challenge, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand the developing international HR strategies, discuss the issues in IHRM Global Business Challenge, describe the difference between domestic and international human resource, understand the concept of IHRM, explain HR activities. Let us start with introduction to HR in relation to the global business aspect. Basically, the three broad global HR challenges that have emerged are as follows: deployment, getting the right skills to where they are needed in the organization regardless of geographical location; knowledge and innovation dissemination, spreading state-of-the-art knowledge and practices throughout the organization regardless of where they originate; identifying and developing talent on a global basis, identifying who has ability to function effectively in a global organization and developing these abilities. Dealing with such challenges means that most employers have had to develop HR policies and procedures just for handling global assignments. Cross-cultural, technical and language training programs will probably be required. Developing international HR strategies. While moving towards a global human resource strategy, there are a lot of things that need to be taken care of. So today we are able to say that we have succeeded in creating a comprehensive executive structure, allowing us to treat key questions of human resource policy in a unified way. Evaluation, compensation, management, development, training and education. We have harmonized all of these instruments for executives and made them binding worldwide. Reviewing international human resource strategy. You will definitely agree to the fact that not every company needs to follow some set course of action for human resource as well as company strategy. Basically, there are four principal alternatives between local adaptation, responsiveness and global integration with respective coordination cost. Four alternatives for a cross-border strategy: local adaptation, international strategy, appropriate when there is little foreign business, knowledge transfer from the center of headquarters, multinational strategy, affiliates are autonomous and local adapted, cross-border advantages of standardization and learning are low, coordination costs are lowest. Global integration, global strategy, advantages of standardization of policies and practices, strong centralism, lack of local responsiveness causes disadvantages, national segmented markets, culture policies set barriers, coordination costs are high. Transnational strategy uses advantages from globalization, localization and cross-border learning simultaneously. The autonomy of the national companies in terms of the human resource policy for commercial staff is not noticeably limited, whereas corporate normally assumes exclusive responsibility for decisions concerning executives. Moving towards global integration. So by now you must have understood that every company will have to find its own route, which will depend on the situation and will be different for executive management and specialized staff. Companies successful across borders with corporate headquarters have pursued a more globally integrated human resource strategy. How much local influence is necessary? In a global local strategy, cultural differences amongst employees can be seen as a strategic advantage for cross-border learning capabilities and flexibility of the company. As per a renowned American policy, as much global integration as possible, as much local adaptation as absolutely necessary. What the actual situation is like can only be determined by the careful observation of the characteristic and instrument of a strategy which rests on global integration as well as on local adaptation. A transnational human resource strategy include vision and guidelines, mutual orientation, reduce narrow-minded behavior, mutual understanding and acceptance leading to worldwide cooperation. Decision making. International decision-making committees and communication between the product, country and function specialists in networks. Recruitment, oriented and focused on qualification and no longer on country of origin. Human resource development, through international networking and further educational opportunities, overseas assignments. Personal maintenance, a compensation policy that encourages conformity to a common corporate objective. Issues in IHRM Global Business Challenge. To describe the main issues faced by international HR management, here are some points. The research shows that international HR function face a number of challenges. In particular, they have to help their organizations manage the consequences of global business process redesign, the pursuit of a global center of excellence strategy, and the global redistribution and relocation of work that this often entails. The absorption of acquired business from what might previously have been competitor businesses, the merging of existing operation on a global scale, the staffing of strategic integration teams, attempts to develop and harmonize core HR processes within these merged businesses, and the management of growth through the process of acquisition, whereby new country operations are often built around the purchase of a series of national teams. The rapid startup of international operations and the requirement to provide insights into the organization development needs of these new operations as they mature through different stages of the business life cycle. The changing capabilities of international operations as many skills become obsolete very quickly, and as changes in the organizational structure and design expose managers to more complex roles that require a general upskilling of local operations. The articulation of appropriate pledges about the levels of performance that can be delivered to the business by the IHR function. Learning about how to operate through formal or informal global HR networks, how to act as knowledge brokers across international operations, and how not to automatically pursue a one best way HR philosophy. Global workforce planning and staffing. The aim of global workforce planning is to identify employment needs and to develop plans for meeting those needs from the available global labor force. According to Briscoe and Schuller, the term workforce applies to any enterprise employees. The term labor force applies to the pool of potential employees, the labor market from which a firm hires its workforce. One of the complexities for enterprises in the global environment is that their activities are spread all over the world in different places, different languages and cultures. Global training and management development. When enterprises operate globally, the training of their global personnel is critically important and also difficult practice for their HR managers. The following imperatives have been suggested as key to global organizational learning and training and development. Think and act globally. Global enterprises should think about and prepare for a presence in all the critical markets in the world, not just its home region. Become an equidistant global learning organization. Learning from all cultures anytime in any manner possible must be facilitated. Develop global leadership skills. Global leadership requires competencies different from those needed in the domestic marketplace. Empower teams to create a global future. Multinational and cross-border teams should be increasingly empowered to perform critical organizational projects and problem-solving activities. Regularly reinvent yourself and the global organization. Constant self-development should become the cornerstone of strategies for success for both individuals and organizations in today's highly competitive global economy. Make learning a core competence for the global organization. Global organizations need to become global learning organization where learning and development permeates all that the organization do. global compensation and benefits. Designing a compensation system for enterprises is a critical duty for human resource managers. Moreover, designing this system for international business makes this responsibility much more difficult. It is inferred that global compensation and its related concept need to be understood by IHR managers, which leads to job satisfaction and organizational commitment of personnel and provide competitive advantages for MNEs. The main objectives for the typical MNE global compensation program include attraction and retention of employees who are qualified for foreign assignments from the perspective of the parent company, but includes the perspectives of the PCNs, HCNs and TCNs. Facilitation of transfers between foreign affiliates and the parent company, usually headquarters, and between parent company and foreign location. Establishment and maintenance of a consistent and reasonable relationship between the compensation of employees of all affiliates both at home and abroad. Maintenance of compensation that is reasonable in relation to the practices of competitors yet minimizes costs to the extent possible. International performance management. A firm's performance appraisal system has a significant influence on the performance of its workers. There are many reasons that the international performance evaluation system does not work very well, including problems with the choice of evaluator, example local or parent company, and that person's amount of contact with the expatriate, host, country management perceptions of performance. There are often considerable differences between headquarters and foreign locals in what is valued in terms of performance and in terms of perceptions of the actual behavior. Difficulties with long-distance communication with headquarters. Inadequate contact between parent company rate and subsidiary rate. Frequent indifference to the foreign experience of the expatriate and to the importance of the international business in general. Meaning of IHRM. Internalization of business now exerts influence not only on labor markets and staffing requirements but also on HR practices. The HR executives needs to give international orientation to whatever he or she does. Employee hiring, training and development, performance review, remuneration, motivation, welfare or industrial relation. The process of procuring, allocating and effectively utilizing human resources in an international business is called International Human Resource Management. Definition of IHRM. International Human Resource Management is all about the worldwide management of human resources, process of sourcing, allocating and effectively utilizing their skill, knowledge, ideas, plan and perspective in responding to TQM. The process of procuring, allocating and effectively utilizing human resources in an international business is called International Human Resource Management or IHRM. International Human Resource Management is the process of sourcing, allocating and effectively utilizing human resources in a multinational organization. Dimension of IHRM. IHRM is the interplay among three dimensions: HR activities. Broad activities of IHRM: procurement, allocation and utilization of human resources cover all the 6 activities of domestic HRM like HR planning, employees hiring, training and development, remuneration, performance management and industrial relations. Types of employees. The 3 national or country categories involved in IHRM activities are the host country where subsidiary may be located, the home country where the company has its headquarters, and other countries that may be sources of labor or finance. Types of countries. The 3 types of employees of an international business are parent country nationals PCNs, host country nationals HCNs, and third country nationals TCNs. Purpose of IHRM. Objectives of IHRM. Remaining competitive throughout the world, efficient, locally responsive, flexible and adaptive, capable to transforming learning across their globally dispersed units. Difference between domestic and international human resource. Now, one obvious difference between domestic and international HRM is that staff are moved across the national boundaries into various roles within the international firm's foreign operation. These employees have traditionally been called expatriate, who is an employee who is working temporarily residing in a foreign country. The complexities of IHRM can be attributed to 6 factors that differentiate international from domestic HRM. A wide range of HR activities, the need for a broader perspectives, more involvement in employee personal life, responsiveness to changes in staffing requirements as international strategy changes, higher risk exposure, more external influences. The practice of HRM in the international context is different from its domestic counterpart in a number of ways. These include being responsible for a greater number of functions and activities such as selection, training and management of international assignees. Having to expand one's area of expertise to include a much broader knowledge of foreign country employment laws and global organization designs. Having to get much more closely involved with employees' lives as the firm moves employees to foreign assignment. For example, collecting information and furnishing to visa authorities about age or material status of employees. Being involved with greatly expanded and constantly changing mix of employees from the host countries and foreign locals, adding considerable diversity and complexity to the HR tasks. Having no scope with more external influences, for example, having to consider the impact of foreign cultures and laws. Additional responsibilities like translation of language both at headquarters and at the subsidiary level, organizing schooling and housing for expatriates and providing administrative services. Management of differential compensation due to variety of allowances and adjustment. More emphasis on activities like international relocation and orientation, both pre-departure and post-departure cultural training, knowledge of international taxation, rate of inflation and cost of living, including currency fluctuation. Diversity management, like managing people from different culture and political backgrounds and gender differences. More contacts with government officials for obtaining visas, work permits, tax certificates, fixing of meetings and so on. More coordination and travel to access performance of expatriates and solve problems. More risk management as threats from terrorists, kidnappers and protecting intellectual property rights are firm. More public relation work to enhance the multinationals' image and deal with human rights and other NGOs and interest group operating in different countries. More HR activities. The human resources department of a company is its backbone and serves as a functional center of an organization. It operates in both the forefront and behind the scene as it is intimately involved with every aspect of the business. HR representatives must be skilled in administrative duties as well as interpersonal interactions to handle all the activities associated with the HR department. Some of the most common HR activities are recruitment management. Recruitment is all about choosing the right candidate for the required job. An HR manager or recruiter has to consider various things in order to recruit someone for the organization. Job analysis. The HR manager has to understand the job profile properly before inviting the position for the job. This is done in order to sort the people according to the basic requirements and expectation from the candidate and his qualification. Sourcing. Apart from the conventional style, nowadays there are various job portals and consultants that show interest in getting the job seekers recruited in the organization. This way, it becomes easy for the job seekers and the employers as well. Screening and selection. The next step is to define a number of people required for the particular job. This may include group discussion, personal interviews, extempore speeches and miscellaneous objectives type tests. Lateral hiring. This is about hiring a new employee who had previous experience of the same kind. This can be either from the same organization or from a new company. This does not require much effort as experience of the person tells it all. Onboarding. While completing the joining formalities, the employee almost is made aware of the company's rules and regulation, that is the company policies. Payroll. Handling compensation concern is a chief duty of the HR department. Processing payroll accurately and on time is of great importance to everyone at the company. Pay slip distribution. This procedure covers the use of employee self-service to view an employee's own pay slip information. Training. Employees need individual instruction when assigned to specific roles. The development of training programs to provide valuable skills, education, and the teaching of various protocols is handled by HR. Employee services. HR representatives are responsible for ensuring employees are afforded opportunities to get help when needed. Leave management. Employee leave management (ELM) handles leave of absences related to personal or family illness, the birth, adoption or foster care, placement of a child, military services, and any other event that result in an extended absence. Attendance management. The attendance management are intended to provide managers and supervisors with clear guidelines for addressing employee attendance. Health and safety. HR representatives make sure the business is in compliance with state health and safety laws. They are also responsible for educating staff regarding these protocols. Need for a broader perspective. HR technology has certainly come a long way, has moved from Excel-based system to completely automatic systems. It has moved from using HR technology to only maintain data to doing transaction online. Payroll automation has been there for quite some time. The shift has happened in terms of the HR processes like recruitment, performance appraisals, etc., which have a bigger role in terms of adoption of HR technology. Advantages in adopting these platforms. One advantage is having reliable data. The pain area for most companies is the absence of single source of data. Technology is now being channeled for creation of a single platform, enabling the integration of different data. Manual system is prone to errors, plus it takes longer to complete. Social media adoption is something which is mostly used for recruitment to validate candidates, check their profiles, etc. It is a good source of recruitment as well and helps you stay in touch with employees. More involvement in employees' personal lives. The HR department is often charged with creating and promoting corporate culture. Human resources can step in and play a critical role in managing workplace attitudes and behaviors. By maintaining open lines of communication between the HR divisions and other departments, policies can be enforced and early action can be taken to prevent critical issues from arising. HR should regularly assess the attitudes and practices of an organization's managers and identify areas of concern. HR should be the friendly, helpful go-to division that can provide diplomacy and guidance to help managers effectively guide and support their staff. HR can also implement programs that encourage positive attitudes, relationship building, and generally healthy lifestyles. Here are a few tips for reducing stress in the workplace. Support management. In many organizations, managers are overworked, stressed out, and frustrated by competing demands and pressure from the peers. Ironically, an overworked manager may also neglect his staff, who as a result are underutilized or inefficient because they do not have enough responsibility or information to perform their tasks to the best of their abilities. The situation can be confusing to both staff and managers, but HR is in a uniquely objective position to step in and help the department start working together as a team and improve its practices. Give little rewards. Team building can also be encouraged among staff members by developing a reward system. Support a healthy lifestyle. In addition to regular corporate training, employees should also be trained for safety and encouraged to seek help if a task appears unsafe or causes pain. Family-friendly policies can be another excellent way to increase staff retention. Encourage staff to create fun. Parties and activities are a common way to ensure that the staff bounce well outside of their comfortable roles, and such events allow time for some fun. Risk exposure. Risk management is a cycle and is not at all something that gets checked off a to-do list, but it is a continuous activity. Having a risk management process means that your organization knows and understands the risk to which you are exposed. It also means that your organization has deliberately evaluated the risk and has strategies in place to remove the risk altogether, reduce the likelihood of the risk happening, or minimize harm in the event that something happens. Risk management process involves the following steps. Identify the risk. The very first step is to identify the risk. Ask yourself what can go wrong. Every activity of an organization poses a risk, so brainstorm and document the risk. Consider both the general risk that could happen to any organization and the risk specific to your organization. Develop strategies for managing risk. Consider the most appropriate risk management strategies for each identified risk. Avoidance. Stop providing the service or doing the activity because it is too risky. Acceptance. Some risky activities are central to the mission of an organization, and an organization will choose to accept the risk. Modification. Change the activity to reduce the likelihood of the risk occurring or reduce the severity of the consequences. Transfer or sharing. Purchase insurance or transfer the risk to another organization through signing a contractual agreement with other organization to share the risk. Implement. When you have decided which risk management strategies will be the most effective and affordable for your organization, practically outline the steps and who is responsible for each step in the risk management plan. Internal and external influences on human resource. There are essentially 5 external factors that might influence your business, and an understanding of what they are will help HR people to determine the HR strategy in the wider context. For most businesses, they are what is happening in the market and the economy in general, what your competitors are doing, their strengths and weaknesses, and how these relate to the strengths and weaknesses in your business, what your customers are demanding and how those demands are changing and being met, how attractive you are as an employer as judged by the caliber of your people, your ability to attract talent, and your retention record, your brand, your image in the market, and how you are perceived. Expanding the role of HRM in international firms. Now let us understand that how HR is transitioning from a local to a truly global business partner. As a result, many strategic business imperatives for HR are becoming global, including governance and compliance, risk management, benefits harmonization, talent management, and global mobility. Summary. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Getting the right skills to where they are needed in the organization regardless of geographical location, identifying who has the ability to function effectively in a global organization, and developing abilities. Every company will have to find its own route, and this will depend on the situation and will be different for executive management and specialized staff. To describe the main issues faced by international HR management, domestic HRM is involved with employees within only one national boundary. On the other hand, IHRM deals with 3 nationals or country categories.